During the E3 Nintendo Direct, RPG fans were given another taste of the newest game from Monolith Soft. And though the game's title remains mysterious, with only an X given as a potential name, that won't stop us from firing up the old analysis machine and seeing what secrets the latest trailer might be hiding. And to do so, we've again enlisted the help of our resident Monolith Soft expert, Derek Bittner. But before we start, please make sure to check out our previous analysis on X, as we'll be referring back to it throughout the video. And with that, let's get started. So right away we can see that there appears to be a large focus on the mechs, as the protagonist walks through a hangar bay full of them. Now obviously mechs are a tool of destruction, and yet it doesn't feel like a wartime setting here, at least not yet. I mean, nobody seems to be in a rush, and there are even two mechanics talking casually while one sips from a water bottle. So it's possible this could be the beginning of the game, before the plot kicks into full gear, which would mean the protagonist is someone in the military. But whether he starts as a typical soldier who will go on to become great, or someone already renowned for their skills, is impossible to say, as he's still very much a mystery. But of course, the big question on everyone's mind is whether this is a sequel to Xenoblade Chronicles or not. If it is, then it seems to be centuries in the future based on the technology on display. The city, or perhaps military base here, is far more advanced than anything seen in Xenoblade, such as the trucks moving along the road and helicopters flying through the sky. And then there's a smaller town just a bit later that almost looks like it could take place on Earth. The roads are paved and people are milling about on the sidewalk, and it's even in a tropical climate based on the palm trees here. And yet it's still rooted in a fantasy-type world, as the dual moons here prove. And yeah, the dinosaur-like creatures too. Now, we already mentioned that the mechs seem to play a prominent role in the game, as we see a lot more footage of them in action in this latest trailer. But how much will we really get to use them? Well, according to Awada during the Nintendo Direct, players will take control of them only at certain points, which actually suggests some in more limited use. It could be similar to how it was done in Monolith Soft's earlier RPG, Xenogears, where the plot dictated exactly when the characters fought in or out of their mechs. Either way, they do have a constant presence in the trailer, such as how the dull fuel gauge even appears when the protagonist is out of his mech. But perhaps even odder is that it appears in every such scene in the trailer, except for one. Could this clip be from a sequence where the mech isn't available at all? This might actually fit in with what Awada was talking about, where they're only available at certain points. But that's not the only mystery concerning the dull fuel gauge. In two different scenes, the fuel doesn't drain despite the mech being used. In one of those scenes, the mech is soaring high in the sky, while in the other, the mech is walking along the ground. Yet in multiple other clips throughout the trailer, we can see the mech doing these exact same actions where the fuel is decreasing. So what's the deal? Shouldn't it drain all the time? And while we're talking about the fuel gauge, it seems likely that the mechs can be upgraded much like in past Xeno games, since in this clip the fuel total is much higher than what's seen on the gauge up to this point. Now it could possibly be a brand new mech as well, but the ability to upgrade them has been a hallmark since Xenogears, so we really wouldn't be surprised to see that back too. Now the mechs in the trailer also help reveal some interesting details about the environment itself, like the sheer scale of the world. From the huge metal object that could either be a large gate or some form of debris, to the simple fact they can fly really high, it's clear this is one big world. And even then, we can see the X's world has actual land in it, rather than the world in Xenoblade Chronicles that Mechanus and Bionus resided in, which was just a featureless ocean. The trailer also reveals that there will be at least two different kinds of mechs. One is the combat mech, such as the one that you pilot, which appears to feature prominently in this world, and will likely be the only type used for battle. The other is a bulkier model that lacks any weaponry, and seems to be more of a helper or construction type vehicle. And that's interesting because it means mechs won't be used only for battling in this world, as they've often been portrayed in other games, including Monolith Soft's own. But of course these mechs are also used for more than just fighting or construction, as they also appear to be used for faster transportation, as evidenced by their transformations. Though the question remains as to why you would transform into a car when you could just fly to your destination. Unless maybe certain mechs can only do certain forms of travel. And there's evidence of this being the case, since this mech transforms into a tank, while the one from the first trailer transforms into something more like a motorcycle. However, there's something strange during this sequence, and it comes in the form of a system log. Even though the contents are in Japanese, we had it translated by one of our Japanese-speaking friends, and it states that the player acquired some new kind of gun. But when does that happen? At no point does the mech pick anything up. Could it be referring to the fact that a new gun is now available in this mode, since there's obviously a cannon mounted on it? Then there's a pointer-shaped box that pops up at the exact moment the monster here notices you. And after having it translated, we know that it says Rocket Wave. Is this the name of an ability? It could be possible to preemptively attack enemies with certain moves. Maybe the text box acts as a quick select to make battles flow more quickly. And then there's this scene where the player's flying around some kind of battlefield. And some Japanese text appears in the top left corner that, when translated, says Inferno. Now, in the previous trailer, the topmost box actually showcased the life meter of whatever enemy you were fighting, since you could actually see it draining as a player attacked various monsters. But that doesn't seem to be quite the case here. For one, the shape of the box is different in this scene, being more in line with the other characters' boxes instead of the enemy's box in the previous trailer. Secondly, it actually shows the numerical value of HP remaining, and is not colored red like the enemy's was in the previous trailer. Finally, all of the boxes are slightly lower than what was shown before, which would leave room for enemy information to appear above. And with a massive HP difference between it and your team, could this Inferno be some kind of AI-controlled ally that's showing you the ropes? Okay, that's enough about the Japanese text. Let's talk about the world itself, which seems to be hiding many secrets. In this clip, we can see some kind of marker way off in the distance. It's difficult to see, but it seems to be highlighting an ally on the other side. Or it could be marking something else too. And in between this potential ally and the player character is a small digital screen behind the monster here. But what's it for? Is it showing an item box, or a side quest, or something totally different? With how quick the scene goes by, it's impossible to tell for sure. Another blink and you'll miss a detail comes with a weather icon in the top right. In this scene, you can see a quick flash of lightning as the protagonist walks up to another character. But if you look at the weather icon, you can see it shift dynamically from a storm icon to a clear day one, which of course confirms the dynamic weather system we mentioned in our previous analysis. But that's not the only interesting thing to note about the weather icon, because there's a brand new one on display in the trailer, a rainbow. But what makes it so different from a regular sunny day? Maybe it appears after a light rain? Moving on, the radar itself is also hiding a few clues inside it. For example, during what appears to be a massive battle in the sky, you can see flying machines doing battle with some kind of monster on the right. Yet strangely, the red dots on the radar that mark enemies actually line up with those ships. So who exactly is the enemy here? And there's something else about the radar we noticed. In this scene where the protagonist is walking through the city, the radar shows a lot of yellow dots. But based on the placement, they don't match any of the nearby NPCs. Maybe they only indicate NPCs that can actually be interacted with, or perhaps something else entirely. Alright, we're just about done here, but there are just a few more mysteries that have us baffled. Take for example the city tower that has a countdown timer on it which has 3 sets of numbers. We have no idea what the top line is for, but it seems to drop by 10 every second. And then there's a bottom set of numbers that appear to be coordinates of some kind, but while the number on the left stays static, the one on the right changes slightly before the percentage drops. And speaking of the percentage, what's that for? It has to be story related, but in what way? Later on in the trailer, we can see a city that appears to be in ruins. Is this the same one that had the countdown tower? And it seems that the monster here, who's more vicious than anything we've seen up to this point, might be the cause of it all. Now, if the game is connected to Xenoblade in some way, we can't help but wonder this creature, with its immense size, might be some new kind of mechon. Finally, at the very end of the trailer, we can see yet another monster that's just as big, if not bigger, than the one before. The question is it more monster or machine? It does look like a combination of the two, taking the form of a mechanical dragon. Between the monsters in the fields, the airships from before, and these immense machine-beast hybrids, we ask again, just who is the enemy in this game? We're not sure, but we do know that we're excited to find out more. And with that, we're done covering everything we could dig up on X. As usual, let us know if we missed anything by posting in the comments below. If you liked our analysis, please make sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at GameXplain. There are even super easy to click links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and make sure to keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on X and other things gaming too.